I want to thank you for joining Wright-Patt Credit Union's annual business meeting. We will begin officially momentarily, and as we prepare, I want to share a few housekeeping notes for your convenience. If you would like to follow along with text, please open your chat box for closed caption functionality. The chat box can be found at the bottom of your webinar screen. Please click the chat bubble to display the chat box functionality. In addition, if you have any questions throughout the meeting, please email them to annualmeeting@wpcu.coop. At the end of the formal meeting, we will spend some time answering your questions live. However, any account-specific questions will be answered through email. Please note our team may edit your questions for clarity before sharing them live. Any unanswered questions will be addressed through email. For those we are unable to answer during the meeting, we will be sure to follow up with you offline. At this time, I'd like to now welcome Joe Linsenmeyer, our board chair, to officially begin the meeting.
Thank you, Ivy. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wright-Patt Credit Union's annual business meeting. I'm Joe Linsenmeyer, Chairman of the Board of Directors. The meeting will please come to order. Let's start by observing a moment of silence for the military men and women serving our country and for the first responders, medical personnel, and essential personnel serving our communities through the COVID-19 crisis. Thank you. Our Code of Regulations requires that 0.5% of our total voting membership must be present in person or by writing to constitute a legal annual business meeting. In the interest of protecting our members and partners through this unprecedented COVID-19 public health crisis, this year's meeting is hosted live online and over the phone and will be available as recording online. We've received more than 8,100 valid ballots from members for this year's meeting, and accordingly, the quorum requirement has been met. I therefore declare this a legal meeting. I would like now to introduce the rest of our board of directors. Michael McGrath, Major, U.S. Air Force retired, Vice Chairman. Leah Hansman, Secretary. Joe Mucci, Treasurer. Adam Sheets, Assistant Secretary. Dr. Robert Sweeney, Assistant Treasurer. Carol Clark, Director. Dr. Charles Shao, Director. Bonnie Smith, Director. Ed Blummel, Director Emeritus. Howard Marks Jr., Director Emeritus. Dr. Larry Smith, Colonel, U.S. Air Force retired, Director Emeritus. Robert Weiner, Colonel, U.S. Air Force retired, Director Emeritus. Rachel Goodspeed, Associate Development Member. Nick Ensley, Associate Development Member. Thaddeus Cates, Colonel, U.S. Air Force retired, Associate Development Member. And Burhan Kawasa, Committee Member. Let us now recognize our senior management team. Doug Fecher, President and Chief Executive Officer. Tim Mislansky, Chief Strategy Officer. Roseanne Schutzman, Chief Operating Officer. Daniel Smith, Chief Financial Officer. Eric Bugger, Chief Lending Officer. Amy Riley, Chief Administrative Officer. Todd Elliott, Market President, Columbus. Jennifer Ogden, VP of Internal Audit. Kim Riley, Vice President of Service Delivery. Molly Lampy, Vice President of Compliance and General Counsel. Scott Everett, VP New Ventures and Member Business Service. Chris Johnson, VP of Enterprise Risk Management. Tracy Zarzi-Fors, VP of Marketing and Business Development. And Tanya Kuhn, President, MyCU Mortgage, LLC. Linda Hart, recording secretary, will be responsible for recording the minutes of this meeting. In addition, we have Molly Lampe, Vice President of Compliance and General Counsel, here this evening. Ms. Lampe is serving as our parliamentarian tonight. Representing our auditing firm, BKD, Certified Public Accountants, is Steve Moore. Thanks to all our special guests for attending this virtual meeting and for your support and interest in the Wright-Patt Credit Union. This year, we're providing the annual report and meeting minutes digitally. You can find these links to these documents here as well as through our website, wpcu.coop/annual meeting. Please refer to the annual business meeting notice at this time. Let the record show that the minutes of the 2019 annual business meeting as included in the annual business meeting notice were approved by mail ballot. As chairman of the board of directors, it's now my responsibility to inform members about how things are going at the credit union. I'm pleased to provide you with a brief update on a few ways we've worked hard over the last year to provide great value for our members. Thank you to everyone attending this meeting online and over the phone, and for helping to keep our members and our partners safe. Before I talk about last year, I would like to speak briefly about the unprecedented COVID-19 health crisis we find ourselves dealing with. First, I want you to know that Wright-Patt Credit Union remains financially strong, and we are working hard to assist our community in these difficult times. As a result, we've adjusted our member center services, suspended lobby services at most of our member centers, and put social distancing practices into effect. We also created emergency relief programs and made other temporary changes to help our members through these difficult times, such as temporary unemployment loans, temporary waiving of certain fees, additionally, skip-a-pay options on loans, provided an automatic $1,000 increase on qualified credit card limits, and more. Doug will have some additional comments in his presentation, but to keep up with the latest as the situation continues to change, please refer to wpcu.coop/COVID-19. Rest assured, your credit union is here to help our members through life, especially in these uncertain and difficult times. Now, looking back to 2019, Wright-Patt Credit Union has helped our members by providing extraordinary services and the right solutions to our members and our community's needs. Here are just a few ways we've helped our members in 2019. Wright-Patt Credit Union lent more than $2 billion to members to help them meet their financial goals and to ultimately become financially free to live the life they want to live, whether that's buying a home or a car, getting married, or paying off debt before retirement. In 2019, Wright-Patt Credit Union helped more than 1,000 members become first-time home buyers, and over 1,500 members took advantage of our Refi Your Ride vehicle loan rebate, saving members over $325,000. Wright-Patt Credit Union also provided members opportunities to save better with competitive rates on money market accounts, as well as various share certificate specials. This contributed to an increase of more than $444 million in overall deposits. In addition to valuable lending and deposit resources, as part of our efforts to help members gain more financial freedom, we provided members with financial learning opportunities and one-on-one guidance. In 2019, more than 26,000 members were helped through financial learning seminars and online money management resources. In addition, through our partnership with Green Path Financial Wellness, we help members pay off over $2.1 million in debt. In 2019, Wright-Patt Credit Union stepped up and put our people helping people philosophy into action by supporting our members and the communities we serve in times of need. Through our partnership with the American Red Cross, we provided more than $379,000 to aid our community on the road to recovery from last year's Miami Valley Memorial Day storms. Another powerful way we lived out our mission is through our Sunshine Community Fund, which has generated more than $1.5 million for local charities since its inception in 2015. This past year, our partner employees exceeded their fundraising goals yet again by raising over $244,000 to help those served by the Artemis Domestic Violence Center, Homeful, and St. Vincent de Paul. Wright-Patt Credit Union measures success not by profits or growth, but in terms of the number of members we've helped to improve their financial situation. Our role is to be reliable and consistent resource for our members, and by doing so, true success is measured by the number of people that are better off because of our efforts. 2019 was another strong year for the credit union, and our impact on stakeholders was highlighted by several awards and honors. We don't actively seek this kind of recognition, but it's nice to have others outside our business take notes of the things we're doing. In 2019, your credit union was named one of the best not-for-profit businesses of the year by the Dayton Business Journal, and was also ranked as the #1 best Ohio credit union by Forbes Media. Wright-Patt Credit Union has also recognized for our extraordinary partner employee wellness programs, placing the credit union on the Dayton Business Journal's list of healthiest employers for the 3rd year in a row. As the credit union continues to grow, we are able to provide improvements in the value we offer members and to strengthen our capabilities for them. In the end, we recognize that Wright-Patt Credit Union's worth lies in the number of people who can say they were better off because of the role the credit union played in their lives. By the end of 2019, Wright-Patt Credit Union was nearly 400,000 members strong, with $5 billion in assets and maintained a net worth ratio of 11.4%, well above the regulatory required 7% for capitalization, translating to greater value and return to our membership. And this is important. Net worth at your credit union is really a measurement of the safety reserve members have built up over the years, and our primary measure of the financial soundness of the credit union. Indeed, having safety reserves equal to 11.4% of assets is a testament to the financial strength we work to maintain for meeting the financial needs of our members. As 2019 came to a close, our largest celebration of success came by returning a record-breaking $10 million in excess earnings to you, our members, through a special patronage dividend. This dividend is a result of members making robust use of their credit union, and after paying operating expenses and making prudent addition to our safety reserves, your board of directors believes anything left over should be returned to our members. We are proud to be able to do this again in 2019. Since the dividend is based on excess earnings, it's not guaranteed every year. In unprecedented times, such as we're living through today, direct benefits are seen in other ways, such as suspended fees, extended skip-a-pay on loans, low-interest unemployment loans, and so forth. We are thankful that in both 2019 and now in 2020, with emergency relief programs, we are in a position and able to put money back into our members' pockets in different ways. On behalf of the board of directors, thank you for your membership and commitment to the credit union. At this time, I'd like to give my personal thanks to the entire staff and my fellow board of directors of the credit union. I truly cannot imagine working with a more professional and dedicated group of people. I would now like to introduce our President and CEO, Doug Fecher, who would provide additional comments on our 2019 financial report and plans for the credit union in 2020.
Thanks, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for being with us tonight, and particularly for being flexible as we've moved our annual meeting to an online virtual experience for the first time in our history. Our bylaws state that we must hold our annual meeting by June 1st of each year, and given the uncertainty around group gatherings, we just felt it was best for everyone's safety to hold an electronic meeting. Appreciate your understanding. As you all know, we as a nation, and indeed around the world, are living through unprecedented times. The impact of the coronavirus has been profound, and we're all adjusting to new ways of doing things. So let me first say that our hearts go out to everyone who has been impacted by this public health emergency, and I hope you and your families are doing as well as can be expected, no matter how COVID-19 is affecting your lives. I want to focus my remarks tonight on Wright-Patt Credit Union's response to COVID-19 as we work to help our members and our employees get through this crisis. And I want to thank our board of directors for the leadership they've shown under exceptionally challenging circumstances, for giving me and my management team the ability to react swiftly and decisively at this critical time, and for giving the direction to us that people come first. Their support has been incredibly helpful. Wright-Patt Credit Union was built for times just like these. Our credit union was formed in 1932 to help one family who was severely impacted by personal illness. As the story goes, a group of coworkers at what is now Wright-Patterson Air Force Base pitched in a little from each of their pay envelopes to help this family stay afloat until their coworker regained his health. And today, that's exactly what we find Wright-Patt Credit Union doing again for untold thousands of members whose lives have been disrupted by this terrible disease. The actions we have taken and will continue to take define the character of our credit union and the people that work here. It's a challenge we signed up for, and we are prepared, willing, and able to do our very best. Our strategy from the very beginning has been to balance our obligation to give members access to their money and the financial services they need with our equally important commitment of protecting the health and safety of our employees. We are fortunate that we have built strong safety reserves, as Joe said, over the years, just in case something like this was to happen. And now we're using those reserves to support the members and communities we serve as only a member-owned cooperative can. We entered 2020 having just completed one of the strongest years in our history. We returned a record amount of excess earnings back to members in 2019, and we maintained safety reserves at some of the highest levels in the industry. We lent $640 million in new mortgage loans, $85 million in personal loans, $5 million in student loans, and $75 million in car loans. We welcomed almost 45,000 new members into our cooperative. We made $159 million in commercial loans to support our local business community. We help members in many ways, large and small, because that is what generations of members before us built this credit union to do. We invested in our operating infrastructure in 2019, data security, technology, risk management, compliance. We invested in serving members digitally, which is now paying off as this disease has us serving people remotely more than ever before. We started 2020 in a position of strength, and even as this crisis unfolds, we are optimistic that we'll finish this year just as strongly as we started. This is after committing millions of dollars to doing the right thing by our members and employees during these hard times. Our plan for COVID-19 is really quite simple. First, we're trying to do the right thing as best we see it, and second, we're working hard to do the very best we can. We've retooled our operation in an astonishingly short period of time to ensure continuing operations, even as employees work remotely. And while we may not always get it exactly right, we're listening and we're learning and we're making changes so we can help as many people as we possibly can. Here's just a few of the ways we're helping manage the uncertainty and disruption of COVID-19. We've temporarily suspended all NSF fees, overdraft fees, and loan late fees. To my knowledge, Wright-Patt Credit Union is the only financial institution to offer such comprehensive emergency relief by waiving all these fees. We increased credit card limits by $1,000 for eligible members to help if they found themselves short of cash, even as other lenders have pulled back on new loans and the availability of credit. We doubled ATM limits to give members fast access to cash and avoid long lines at Wright-Patt Credit Union drive-thru locations. We implemented emergency lifeline loans at low rates of interest and extended due dates for members who became unemployed or underemployed during the crisis. We've temporarily suspended foreclosures and repossessions to relieve members who were already facing financial difficulties when the crisis hit. We worked with members to defer scheduled loan payments. We eliminated the associated fees and have since processed more than 20,000 payment deferrals for members. We've kept our lending windows open to give members access to the credit they need for managing their way through this crisis. And we've processed hundreds of payroll protection program loans for small businesses through the Small Business Administration And we funded more than $70 million in these loans, which has saved in excess of 7,000 local jobs. Wright-Patt Credit Union's obligation to serve goes beyond members and extends to our employees as well. That's why we took aggressive steps to protect their health and welfare as essential employees who would be working throughout the crisis. In just a few weeks, we moved 70% of our workforce to work from home in a safe, secure, and encrypted manner. We deployed gallons of sanitizer and face masks and established robust social distancing practices to keep employees working in our member centers as safe as we can. We paid our employees an appreciation bonus to thank them for the sacrifices they were making to be on the front line serving members during these difficult times. Now, all this remediation might cause some to ask how COVID-19 is affecting our financial standing. Accordingly, I want to assure you that we review and update financial forecasts every week to make sure we're deploying members' money responsibly while maintaining a rock-solid balance sheet our members can depend upon. And while all this experience will certainly come at a cost, please rest easy knowing your credit union is well positioned to weather the storm with a strong base of safety reserves from which to operate. We believe situations like COVID-19 are exactly what our reserves are for. And I'm proud to report we have hundreds of millions in reserves and more than $1 billion in cash and equivalents available to help take care of whatever COVID-19 throws at us. Sure, our net income may be lower this year than last year, but we still expect our reserves to hold up even as we prepare for higher loan losses from the economic disruption caused by the crisis. In the end, the trust members place in us for taking great care of their money is one of our top priorities and a duty we take very seriously. Our years of careful management of our members' money is paying off for us right now. So these are just a few of the highlights of how Wright-Patt Credit Union is performing during the crisis. And while it may be difficult to see more than a few weeks down the road, I'd like to take just a moment to talk about where we as a community are headed. When we defeat this disease, which we certainly will, I believe the future remains bright and full of opportunity for all of us. I'd remind everyone listening to me tonight that there has never been a world event, a recession, or even depression that our country didn't fully recover from. This includes depressions in the 1870s, the 1890s, the 1930s, 2 world wars, the last 1918 flu pandemic that killed millions, and any number of other events, large and small, that have occurred throughout the history of the United States. Although our country has hit significant bumps in the road and even taken a step back at times, when we look at it over the long term, we see that each and every time we as a people have grown our way out of short-term troubles, and we always recover faster than could be imagined anywhere else. And that's because, whatever our challenges, we still live in the most remarkable country in the world. And so I believe that the coronavirus will ultimately be no match for the toughness, ingenuity, and sheer will of the American people. And among the American people, there is no more resilient a population anywhere as there is in the state of Ohio. Ohioans make up the core of Wright-Patt Credit Union, and I couldn't be more thankful that we get to live and work in a place like this and for people like you. Finally, I'd like to take a moment to thank the employees of Wright-Patt Credit Union for all they've done to serve our members during COVID-19. At the same time, they're anxious about their own health and the health of the people they love. They still show up day after day as essential workers because they understand better than anybody else how much our members need their credit union right now. Every one of them has gone above and beyond. Even our most senior managers, including myself, have spent time directing traffic at drive-through locations to keep the lines moving and support our frontline folks. Indeed, perhaps never before has Wright-Patt Credit Union's mission of helping members through life been more important than it is today. And our employees know this. COVID-19 has presented us with extraordinary circumstances, and in response, our employees are going to extraordinary lengths to serve our more than 400,000 members. Our employees tell us every day of the members they're helping. Members like John, a long-distance truck driver in the restaurant industry. John was laid off, and he was right when he and his family were in the final stages of adopting another child. His wife wasn't working outside the home in order to take care of the kids. Or of Jasmine, who was let go from both of her bartending jobs and who didn't have money for groceries after making her car payment. Our employees reached out and helped Jasmine. One particularly poignant story that comes to mind follows the complications of a member faced after donating a kidney. This member donated his kidney to a family member back in January, but was held for an extended stay at the hospital due to the high risk COVID-19 presented to his health. After being released from the hospital, he was still unable to return to work. And as you can imagine, this put a financial strain on his family. And his family looked to Wright-Patt Credit Union to help guide them through and to make the situation a little easier. In each of these cases, it was a Wright-Patt Credit Union employee who worked to help members defer loan payments, or who approved emergency lifeline loans, or who creatively found other ways to relieve the financial stress members were experiencing. In each of these cases, and really hundreds more just like them, it was a Wright-Patt Credit Union employee who took the time to listen and to care and to work to try to find a way that they could help. You know, it's easy to be there for people when times are good. It's the true measure of character, however, to stand up with strength and determination when times get tough. And that's what our employees are doing every day. Our employees are heroes in my mind, and I can't thank them enough, and hope you will join me in showing them your gratitude too. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. I apologize for the earlier technical difficulties. Please take care of your families. Please be safe. Each day that passes gets us one day closer to putting this crisis behind us. And until that day comes, on behalf of everyone at Wright-Patt Credit Union, the not-for-profit you and your fellow members cooperatively own, I promise we will do everything we possibly can to have your back. Now I'm going to pass the meeting back to our chair, Joe Linsenmeyer, to finish our annual meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Really appreciate that strong update. The minutes show that there is no unfinished business. We will move on to the new business and the report of elections. The following individuals were elected by the membership by mail ballot to serve 3-year term on the board of directors. Bonnie Smith, Carol Clark, and Dr. Robert Sweeney. Truly, thank you to all 3 of you. Now, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the people involved in making the annual meeting and election a success. We appreciate the time and effort that goes into preparing these meetings. I know how hard you worked. Thank you very much. With all the official business of the annual meeting concluded, this meeting is adjourned, and we will now proceed with any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe and Doug. I'd like to remind everyone that a recording of this year's meeting will be made available at www.wpcu.coop/annual-meeting. We'll now spend some time answering questions submitted via email, and we do have a few so far. If you'd like to submit questions, please send it now to annualmeeting@wpcu.coop. We will answer as many questions as we can while we're on here live, and any questions we're unable to answer will be addressed offline. Also, please note again that any account-specific questions will be answered offline over email. And for those of you following along on closed captioning, please note that the live closed captions for the question and answer section may vary slightly from the actual spoken words. However, we will have updated closed captioning answers available in our recording. And with that, let's open up with the first question. Again, if you'd like to submit a question, feel free to do it now at annualmeeting@wpcu.coop. So we do have a question from our member, a couple of questions from one member. Member Chip asks, 1, what investments have you had to slow down or postpone due to COVID? And I'm going to actually unmute you, Joe and Doug, both, so that you can both. There we go. The question again is, what investments have you had to slow or postpone due to COVID?
So that's a really good question. When we started 2020, before the COVID-19 crisis hit, we obviously had a robust strategic plan. That strategic plan is built around further maximizing and increasing the value that we're able to return to members. And when COVID-19 happened and we had to move resources to kind of get employees working from home and make all those arrangements, we did suspend about a third or close to half of our tactics that we will start up again later in this year. And I would say those suspended tactics are the ones that we maybe slowed the investments in. What we did not slow down investments in are the kinds of investments that we need to make to ensure that we offer a very robust and sound operation for our members. So investments around compliance, or investments around data and cybersecurity, investments around just some of those foundational technology things have not been suspended, and they still move forward full speed ahead. We are constructing new member centers in various locations around Dayton and Columbus. Those have not been suspended. Our plans to make sure that members have access to the services they need and the different service delivery options, those have not been suspended. Mostly the things that have been suspended were things that could frankly wait for another 6 months, that really wouldn't be noticed perhaps by the membership. And so we tried to make sure that the things that we kept on investing in were the things that would help members the most, and the things that we slowed down or frankly, we haven't stopped investing in anything. The things that we've slowed down were more the kinds of housekeeping types of investments we need to make that could wait for another 6 months or so. And we do plan to retake all of those investments up when we get this crisis a little bit further behind us. So I hope that was a good question. I hope that answered it.
Thank you, Doug. The next question, also from member Chip, is regarding employment and employment loss as a result of COVID-19. The question is, do we know how many members have lost their employment in the last 2 months as a result of COVID? And are there any credit union employees that have been affected employment-wise by COVID?
So another good question. We don't really have specific information of our 400,000 members, how many of them are currently unemployed or underemployed. We do look every month and every time it comes out on the unemployment information for Ohio and for the Dayton region. Currently that's running between 15 and 20%. And so we believe that that is a fair number to interpolate over to our members. And we would say that somewhere between 15 to 20% of our members are probably out of work due to COVID-19. And that was the driving factor behind our decision to suspend the fees that we suspended and offer the emergency relief services. I am proud to say that no Wright-Patt credit union employees have been laid off or furloughed, or we are all still working, every single one of us. We have about 1,000 employees. About 70% of them are now working from home. The rest are either out in member centers, which is what we call our branches, or in other areas. But every one of us are working and doing our best to serve members. So no employees at Wright-Patt Credit Union have lost their job. And further, I would go to say that I can't foresee that even happening at the credit union. Our job of serving members is too important. So also another good reason for building up those safety reserves is it gives us the ability to absorb crises like this without a dramatic impact to our ability to serve members.
Yeah, Doug, I just add a couple of thoughts on that last question and this question kind of overlap in a way. And when I think of the investments that we want to make there's the basic business investments of just keeping the credit union up to date and doing things more efficiently and being able to better serve our members, and then the investments that we make to add new services and do new things and grow the portfolio of products that we have for our members. All of those things are going to require more employment in the future. So when I, from my position, look at the credit union and what we're doing and what we have in the plan, you're right. We did suspend or slow down some of those investments, but this is not a good business environment to do those things in anyway. But longer term, 6 months, a year, 18 months, I see more employment here. How much it'll be, I can't say because I don't know exactly what we'll choose to do. But well, I guess maybe I'm biased, but I'm bullish on this credit union.
The question is, can you describe some of the initiatives that you are taking to help communities in addition to services directly given to members? And are you helping other credit unions?
So I'll take that one. So I think probably the biggest way that we can serve our community is try to keep as many people in our communities employed as we can. And I think probably the biggest thing that we've done in that regard is participate in the Small Business Administration's Payroll Protection Program loans, which was every bit as difficult as it was reported in the news, if not even more difficult. So I'm really thankful and proud of our teams. We ended up making somewhere over 700 loans to 700 different businesses, as I reported before. That's about $70 million in loans, and we believe that we have helped those companies save 7,000 jobs. That's 7,000 families, and if you extend that out by the number of people in each one of those family units, it was quite a dramatic impact, I think, the credit union was able to have on this community. So that is probably the biggest thing that we've done to really assist the community. We have had a couple of other instances where larger community groups that had their income streams interrupted that came to us for bridge type of financing until they could get their revenue streams back. In one case, a very, very large, in fact, maybe one of the larger community groups in the Dayton region did not want to sell some of their investments in securities in the stock market because of the low valuations in the market. And so we were able to create a working line of credit for them to where they could continue to take care of their bills until things improve. So there are several things we've done for different larger community groups, well, not just larger community groups, smaller community groups, but I would point to the PPP program and the hard work of our commercial services staff to support those groups. And again, you know, for every job that we're able to save or every family that we're able to put money in their pocket while they may be underemployed or unemployed so that they can keep paying their bills, all of that supports this community. I think one of the guiding values of Wright-Patt Credit Union simply is we're all in this together. You know, for-profit financial institutions, banks, and so forth, they're owned by shareholders, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But we believe Wright-Patt Credit Union is essentially owned by its community. And so we have an obligation to serve this community as a whole and make it stronger and better off than it might be otherwise if it weren't for credit unions like ours and others in this area. So I think almost everything we do supports this community, but I am proud of what we've done on the PPP loans, the 7,000 jobs we know we've saved, and the untold extension of those 7,000 jobs across our community.
Thank you, Doug. This is not really a follow-up, but I think would be a good question to follow that one. This is from member Sue. The question is there a strategy in place to continue working with members if the unemployment and small business challenges continue into the summer months? Do we have a specific strategy in place?
So thank you, Sue, for that question. We intend to continue doing what we've been doing for as long as we're able to do it. We've modeled the finances of the credit union out through December 31st this year, and we have quite a bit of financial strength that we're able to put to work in helping this community get through this crisis. So we knew that going in, that this could extend much longer than 2 or 3 or 4 months. And our finance teams, under the direction of our CFO, Daniel Smith, they update those projections and forecasts. The liquidity forecast, which is simply how much cash is available to help members, those get updated weekly. The financial performance forecasts get updated every month. And so we're very confident that we have the financial strength to take this all the way through the end of this year and, frankly, past that also. Right now, our projections go through the end of this year, but at the end of the year, they would show that we would actually maintain a similar level of reserves to what we started with. I think your credit union is so very strong. In fact, frankly, one of the strongest in the country in terms of its reserve levels. We can withstand a lot and for a long time. In terms of specific strategies, we're going to keep putting our members first and our employees first. And we'll continue to do the types of things that we need to do to try to help everybody get through the situation. I can't say specifically we intend to do this, that, or the other thing. However, we do meet daily with what we call our member impact team. to take a look at how the members are faring through this, and we will make new decisions or change decisions or implement new products as we need to help the community get through this and individual members. But we have a lot of financial strength. That is credit and testament to not just this management team, but the management teams of Wright-Patt Credit Union ever since it opened in 1932. The credit union has been extremely well run from a financial basis for decades, and that is really paying off for us right now. That's why we keep those reserves, is for times just like this.
Thank you. The next question is also a follow-up from Member Sue, or not follow-up, additional question from Member C. Do you see the current lending exposure due to COVID-19 as an issue if the challenges in the economy continue?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no question that our country is headed for recession. How long and how deep that recession will go remains to be seen. And so in any recession, not just this one, one of the effects of a recession is members and the businesses that we serve may not be able to pay their loans as they hoped to when they took the loan out. For that reason, our delinquency rates are probably going to rise. Our loan losses are probably going to rise. The way we account for those things is by setting aside more of our reserves into a specific allowance for loan and lease losses. We call it the ALLL. And so just in the last 2 months, we've increased our reserves against those losses by some $16 million. Whether we'll need all that $16 million or not remains to be seen, but we are busily preparing for higher losses and higher loan delinquency. But as I said in my comments, we will defeat this disease. And when we do, I expect the power of the U.S. economy to come roaring back. And again, I don't want to keep going back to our financial strength, but it's just a fact. We have a lot of resources to use to help members get through those times. I think it's also telling that in the months of April and March and a little bit here in May, we've allowed members who are unemployed to skip some 20,000 of the loan payments. Our staff is reaching out to those members to find out how they're doing and are they back at work? What can we do to further help you and your family during this time and so forth? So the short answer is yes, we expect loan losses to go up. They go up in every recession. This one will be no different. How much and how long? We use the unemployment rates and so forth to make estimates on how much we have to set aside. We've already set aside a fair amount of money for the prospects of increased losses. But again, with our net worth, which is our safety reserves, is north of $500 million, and I just can't see anything that would devastate that set of reserve funds. So I feel comfortable where we're at, but sure, we're going to see increased losses. They will not, however, in my opinion, and based on all our forecasts, they won't materially affect the financial strength of the credit union.
Right, and this is Joe again. I look back when I was on the board and we went through the 2008 financial crisis with the housing market collapse. In a lot of ways, that was much more stressful on financial institutions than this particular COVID crisis is. We came through that and actually were stronger a couple of years after that occurred than we were before we went into it. And I think that has to do with the way we treat the member owners of this credit union and the way we treat the people that work here, the partners. And just having a conservative financial mindset and knowing that we're put together to help people when these bad situations occur. And I know the mindset of the board and the staff is, we're going to be here to help the members as long as we can, and we're going to keep this credit union as strong as we can so we can do as much as we can as long as we can. And I agree with Doug. I said I was bullish on the credit union. I'm bullish on America. I think that we're going to come out of this. Maybe it won't be a V, but we will come out of this, and in the end, I think things will be better.
Thank you so much, Doug and Joe. At this time, we will conclude our question and answer period. I do want to note that we had a very big thank you from member Carrie, who's been a member since 1988, that I will be forwarding on to you all to share a great message and story there about her membership and appreciation for what we've done with COVID-19. And on that one, we will end our questions for the evening. I just want to thank everybody again for joining us for the 2020 annual business meeting, our first virtual meeting. And I want to wish you all a great evening and good night. Have a good one. Thank you all.